Well, hello. It's been a while since I've read from my book, and I think it's time to get back to it. It's winter time, so I've been very busy skiing, and you can see a lot of those videos in the I'm Not That Dad section of bruceallen.com. So let's get back to the Empty Nest Road Trip Blues, which I wrote last fall and published last fall after taking my son from Los Angeles to Boston to begin college. He's now in his second semester. He's doing great. And let's continue reading the book and continue now with Day 5, Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town. As was our routine, I got up early and did my computer business while Arnie continued to sleep. We'd upgraded from our last hotel, and now we're in a slightly nicer flea bag at an unbelievable $100 for such an ordinary room. The continental breakfast downstairs was pathetic, but at least the coffee was hot, since I'm not particular about my coffee as long as it's plentiful. We were slightly more than halfway across the country, having gone a bit over 1,500 miles. Next stop was Chicago, a mere 335 miles away. Hopefully we'd rendezvous with Arnie's ex-girlfriend, who felt like the daughter I didn't have when they were together, and her mom for some deep dish Chicago pizza. I got a big kick out of continuing to listen to Sirius XM on the drive the previous night, especially when the song The Night Chicago Died by Paper Lace came on. That song, and one by Marshall Tucker, Heard It in a Love Song, along with Come On Down to My Boat Baby by Every Mother's Son, were those songs from my teens that I never hear on traditional oldies stations. Note, getting Arnie up and going every morning was quite the challenge. He's a grump in the morning. I was that way as a teen, so I'm constantly reminding myself that his slow-moving ways won't really make any difference in the long run, though in the moment it was making me crazy. Chicago, Chicago, that toddling town. Chicago, Chicago, I'll show you around. I love it. Bet your bottom dollar you'll lose the blues in Chicago. Chicago, the town that Billy Sunday couldn't shut down. And right there in the book is a picture of the famous Marina Tower building in Chicago, where you've seen many a movie shot. And those lyrics were from, of course, the famous song by Frank Sinatra. Upon arriving in Chicago, we immediately needed some deep dish pizza. So we went to the famous Lou Malnati's. Logan was finishing moving into her dorm at the Art Institute in Chicago, and Kirsten, her mom, was helping out and saying goodbye to her only child. This was their hometown, and Lou Malnati's was their pizza joint. The back room where we were seated was classic old school, with wood walls and booths and framed jerseys from all the Chicago sports teams. The pizza was truly awesome, and it was my first real pizza, cheese and all, since I'd gone vegan. I savored every single bite. After that, with Kirsten as our guide to her beloved hometown, we did a walking tour of downtown Chicago, heading towards Grant Park, the site of the annual Lollapalooza Music Festival each summer. And right below that is a picture of Logan and Arnie in front of the Art Institute. I lost track of all the sights we saw, but they included breathtaking skyline views, the Liechtenstein, that's it, the Liechtenstein sign for his show at the Art Institute, which Kirsten informed us is the third largest art collection in the world, after the Louvre and the New York Museum of Art. We said our goodbyes and left town as the sun was setting and the afternoon traffic was dying down. Back on the road, we headed towards and soon arrived at Benton Harbor, Michigan. How many states had we driven through? Today we started in Nebraska, ended up in Illinois, drove right through Indiana, and stopped in Michigan. A light day of driving, relatively, as it turned out. The only part of our day in Chicago that was a bit annoying were the many phone calls with Heather, my manager, and Ford, attempting to figure out our plans for the next day and getting us back into another flex. All was worked out, so when I finally hit the sack near midnight, I was completely worn out, satisfied, and ready for sleep. And that's it for Chapter 5. Stay tuned for Day 6, Chapter 6, A Shelby Cobra in the House.